One of my, 29, best friends, Carla, 31, is getting married soon. It's only meant to be a small backyard type of wedding, but they've been planning it for a few months now, and originally it was supposed to be on my property. They wanted it because it's private, has lots of open space for the reception, a nice view, and the house could be used for them to get ready and stuff. Of course I said yes. She and her fiancé Rick were very happy. Thing is, Carla and I do have a history. We went out on and off in college but decided to stay friends. Then I met my wife, we got married, Carla met Rick, and now here they are. Now my wife knows I went out with Carla back in college and she didn't care. Carla still went to our wedding and everything. I never knew if Rick was told or not. It's not my relationship, therefore not my business to say anything, so I never did. Rick found out recently, and not in the best way. Not sure how, but from what I heard from friends is that one mutual friend told him, no idea why, we used to date. Not only that, but apparently Carla said a couple years ago she was still in love with me when she was already dating Rick. Don't have actual confirmation if that's exactly what he was told. All Carla's told me is that Rick was told about our past and he's angry at her for never saying anything. It became quite a drama and didn't hear from her for over a month until now. She told me they're going to couples counseling and that the wedding is still on. But Rick requested that I not attend. It's a shame, but I totally get why he wouldn't be comfortable. Then I asked the obvious question, where are they going to hold the wedding then? To my surprise, she said they still want it at our place. Rick said so too, and in my mind I'm going, he doesn't want the guy who dated his fiancée years ago at the wedding, but still wants the wedding at his house. My wife and I are expected to just not be at our home that weekend, and I told Carla no. They're going to have to find some place else, since we're not going to simply leave our home to them for the weekend. Not only for safety reasons, but it just doesn't make sense. Rick doesn't want me around because he's not comfortable, but is comfortable enough to have their wedding at my house. They really want their wedding here though, and because of that I've been bugged by not only her but also Rick and some friends who think I'm being a petty idiot for not letting them have the wedding here anymore. Honestly, don't think that I am. It just doesn't make sense at all to have to leave our own place for a wedding we're no longer welcome to, and leaving our home totally vulnerable. Still, being accused of sabotaging their wedding, Rick believes it's the least I can do after everything. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. If he is uncomfortable by your presence, he is welcome to shell out a deposit on short notice for another venue. No way in hell would I allow myself to be run off my own property by an insecure man to use as he sees fit, even just for a day. Malicious destruction on top of typical wedding party mess? No, thank you. Not the idiot at all. Unless they're going to pay you as if your house was an actual, rentable wedding venue, and find you a place to stay for the weekend, don't put up with their crap. That's so selfish and entitled of them to think that your house is something they can just borrow whenever they please. Ridiculous. Edit, if you were actually renting the property to them, cameras everywhere, safety and privacy. Not the idiot. I totally understand Rick's discomfort over Carla hiding that you two dated. And it's made worse by the fact that he may know she said she was still in love with you when they started to date. But expecting to hold their wedding at your home while kicking you out for the weekend and uninviting you is really ballsy and outrageous. If he is that uncertain whether his fiancée has lingering feelings for someone who's now married, then they shouldn't be getting married, at least not now. Rick is displacing some of his anger towards Carla onto you because he loves her and wants to forgive her for keeping the relationship a secret. You have done nothing wrong. Update. Some stuff has happened recently and many of you have wanted an update on this. Appreciate the reassurance and understanding my decision when seems that many in this situation didn't. I remained firm in my decision about not letting them use my property for their wedding. Even if they changed their mind about inviting us, which honestly I don't care about anymore. Rick's family, thanks to him, got a hold of my cell, so that was more people I had to deal with. I put my foot down with Rick a few days ago and told him directly that I will go to the police and press charges for harassment. I have all the texts and calls documented. Also had a very long talk with Carla about everything going on. She apologized for it all. And she knows it's her own fault. Well, she decided to be the one to call things off in the end. Some of my friends still seem to think it's my fault, and I'm taking some distance from them for a while. And also from Carla after getting some confirmation on a few things that I needed to know. Whole thing is a mess. I'm only glad in the end that I didn't give in to their demands and the constant bugging has stopped. It still was a huge headache over the last few days and not the kind of drama I want back in my life. Thank you to everyone who made me feel supported in this. It helped a lot not feeling like the only other person, aside from my wife, who thought their demand was insane and inappropriate. I, 18, have two little sisters, 15, 16. My mom had an affair when I was 14 which caused my parents' divorce and she later remarried her husband. He has a hell of a lot of kids, 7, 8, 10, 12, and 13. My mom never even gave us a chance to get to know them or anything. We were forced to move into a bigger house and call them family. I still live with my mom. Due to my dad in and out of the hospital, I was never able to live with him. Now, we can't even visit him because he's high risk and could easily catch COVID, so we're still figuring out how we can see him without risking his health. My mom pulled a stunt last Monday. She left with her husband for a week to have them time. She didn't say crap to me nor any of the other kids until I called her asking where she was. She didn't even leave any money for us to shop for food. Yes, she left during a freaking pandemic. She returned literally an hour ago, 12 a.m. And I blew up at her because I missed work all week and might get fired. I missed practice and risked getting kicked off the team, and the three oldest kids, not my bio sisters, were so horrible behaved the entire week. I told her they're not my responsibility for one, and she knows I'm not comfortable babysitting anyone's kids except my sisters. I told her the next time she and her husband wanted them time to lock themselves in their room rather than leaving and being inconsiderate. She started crying and said I'm making her feel like a bad mom when she didn't do anything wrong. My aunt called me and said I'm grown up and need to get over my little girl feelings and apologized to my mom because I was mean for no reason. I said I had a reason to be mean and I wasn't apologizing. I'm only now writing this because I feel like maybe I was over the top and a total idiot, so am I the idiot? Update, I didn't think this called for CPS and I'm hoping she doesn't do it again so I don't have to call them. Plus I think they tell who makes a report and I don't want to go through that. I am saving to move out, but I'm back some money because I had to come out of pocket to order food the first few days then buy groceries. I also don't want to leave my sisters until at least my baby sister is 17. My cousin, aunt's daughter, has joined in and called me a child, she's 20, and a bad daughter for making my mom feel bad about having fun. My step-sibling's bio-mom is an addict. I don't know any of her info anyways to get in contact with her. Update 2. So I told my mom the funds I spent the week she was gone and she's going to pay me back for that. My boss texted me not to come into work and I think that translates to I'm fired. So someone asked why I missed work when my sisters could have watched them. Well, the 7, 8, and 10-year-old have online school and needs help with the class setup and doing work, and my sisters had to go to their classes too. I seen someone suggest I get custody of my sisters and live with my dad after isolation. I like that idea. I'll have to talk to him about that. I will think about the CPS issue. The whole thing is just terrifying. Not the idiot. Your mother was incredibly irresponsible. You have no obligation to tend to your younger siblings or the stepkids. Those children are her and her husband's responsibility. By leaving them like that, she was certainly behaving like a bad mom. Honestly, you would have been within your rights to call social services and report abandoned children. Because that is what she did. She just walked away from a bunch of minor children without making any sort of arrangements for their care. She didn't even leave food for them. That is a failure of her most basic duty as a mother. You should have just called the police and said my parents left 7 kids alone. 2 of them are my sisters so I can watch them, but I don't have the ability to take care of 5 non-related children. Or had your 2 sisters leave the house for a few hours and call the police and say my mom and her husband left these children home alone and they plan to be gone a week. I was not provided any food, money, etc., and I did not agree to watch them and won't be. Then invite your sisters back after CPS takes them. Not the idiot. Don't apologize. Your mom needs to understand she was in the wrong. If you apologize, she'll probably do this more often. Not to mention you may lose a job and get kicked off a sports team that you most likely enjoy. And then not leaving money for food? That's a whole problem in itself. And these aren't little girl feelings, they are the feelings of a teenager who was forced to care for her siblings with no warning whatsoever. Don't back down. So I do photography as a side hobby for extra cash. Portrait shots, engagement sessions, weddings, etc. It's fun and I like what I do. Two of my good friends got engaged last year and were wanting to do an engagement session, and I suggested when it snows we should take advantage of that. They loved the idea and I even went shopping with the soon-to-be bride to pick out an outfit to go well with a snowy background. We finally find out it was going to snow last night and this morning several days ago. Bride is my neighbor. Groom is not. Groom lives 15 minutes on really bad back roads that ice over and are definitely not safe to drive in after snow. So I suggested he spend the night before. I don't want anyone getting hurt over photos. Groom and bride have slept together plenty of times, in both meanings of the word sleeping, so this isn't a problem of morality. Groom's roommate is obsessed with their personal lives and purity. One time he tore their living room apart in anger, all because the groom spent the night at bride's apartment. Groom has to sneak bride in after his roommate goes to bed and out at 5 a.m. before he wakes up to prevent angering him. His roommate has all kinds of issues concerning his faith, and he pushes his issues onto the groom and will make life hell if groom doesn't follow roommate's morality code. I'm a Christian myself, but this guy is a lunatic. Over the past 6 months our other friends and my boyfriend have suggested moving out or even crashing with them because everyone thinks groom's roommate is crazy and creepily controlling, but groom feels obligated to stay since roommate has no other real friends. Anyway, so groom was going to spend the night with bride. That was already discussed so that we can walk to each other in the snow and no one has to drive. I had everything set up and ready to go. I get a text this morning saying groom did not spend the night because he feared angering his roommate, and so we can't do the engagement photos because, as I predicted, the roads are iced over. I'm mad and basically told them off that they need to stop letting roommate control their lives and that it's unhealthy as hell, and it isn't fair to me to go through lengths to plan a photo shoot and prepare equipment all to cancel 2 hours before by saying groom didn't spend the night as planned. I told them they better suggest something else because there's no way we'll ever do a snow shoot for them if they keep living in fear of roommate. They're upset and think I'm harsh. I think they need to get out of this toxic roommate situation and should have told me in advance that groom was never planning to stay the night, because I knew if he didn't, I'd have known not to prepare since I know how bad the roads get. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. If they set up a photo shoot with you and then couldn't show up because they didn't do the planning they'd agreed to do, this is on them. Don't reschedule and let some other photographer deal with their weird situation. If they want to be controlled by a crazy person, that's their business, but you don't need to involve yourself in it. You did this essentially as a gift to them for their engagement and they blew you off. Something they probably would not have done if they were paying for the service. If the groom could not make it, the politest thing to do would be to let you know as soon as they knew, as soon as he could not make it, not to wait until 2 hours before the shoot when you are already preparing for it. Things happen, however, the rude part is waiting to tell you. That said, the roommate obsessed with his personal life is weird and disturbing on multiple levels. You have every right to be angry about them canceling via text on you 2 hours before. They could have done that earlier, come on. They knew that the shoot wouldn't be possible and chose to not let you know. That's disrespect, and not how you treat a friend who is offering you their time and effort for free. Their reluctance to move out away from that hella toxic roommate makes me question their decision-making abilities anyway. I want to start by saying that at 25 don't have the best relationship with my mom. I have an older sister, and growing up my mom always tended to control me and tried to override any decisions I make, saying that I was young and naive and she always knew better. I cut contact with her for a few months after she tried to get involved in my marriage. My husband and I have been together for 3 years and he has always been telling me to be more gentle with my mom. I had a miscarriage a few days ago. It's devastating and I really thought it'll get easier, but I'm still feeling excruciating pain and frustration. We were happy and excited, but all that disappeared suddenly and it was hard for me to take because I thought everything was fine. I didn't tell anyone, especially since I'm currently dealing with some health issues. I didn't tell anyone in the family. My husband promised not to tell until I'm ready. My mom kept asking me questions and brought up my pregnancy constantly, and my answers were short. Because I didn't want her to know, since she'd call everybody and let them know. She's always like this, that's why I tend to keep things private. I decided to not visit for a couple of days, hoping she'd stop asking questions. Then I found out on FB that my mom announced my miscarriage on her page and I didn't know about that. I was shocked. I freaked out when I started getting calls from family members and I have no idea how many people knew about it. I was so mad to the point of shaking. Everyone kept berating me for not telling them. I called my mom and I yelled at her. She defended herself, saying that she was just looking for support and that I should have told her about it the first time she asked what was wrong. I asked her who told her and she said she had a talk with my doctor, but I shouldn't be mad because she's my mom and she had the right to know what's going on. I argued with her about getting involved in my personal life and disregarding my feelings and cutting me off guard like that. I went to the doctor and I lashed out at her for releasing my private medical information to my mom and causing me to deal with everyone asking why I was hiding my miscarriage from them, even though I was just waiting for the right time. I told my doctor that I was going to file a complaint against her the same day since she didn't respect my privacy, and decided to give my mom information about my medical records. My mom heard and started berating me, saying it wasn't the doctor's fault and that she was a friend of hers she knew years ago, but I didn't know about it. She said that I went too far and acted like my family were strangers. She said that she's my mom and I didn't need to overreact like that. All I needed was time and space. Now I have to deal with all this stress and I'm a mess right now. Update: my brother texted me a few minutes ago and said he wants to come over and talk to me. He was the first to call me and berated me and said that I was being hostile towards everyone for no reason. I haven't replied to his text yet, but I don't want to see anyone right now. I can't take one more word from them. Not the idiot. You should absolutely file a complaint against your doctor for violating your privacy. You already knew that your mother didn't respect your boundaries. How awful to find out your doctor doesn't either. I'm so sorry for your loss, and for the way your mother and doctor responded to it. Best of luck with any future pregnancies, if that's what you decide is right for you. Not the idiot. What the doctor did breaks HIPAA laws. If you live in the US, doing something like this is a very serious offense and could result in loss of their license. You have every right to be upset about this. I'm very sorry for what you and your husband are going through. Not the idiot. It's your private medical information, no one else's. It wasn't your doctor or mother's place to share this with anyone else. Also, the people calling you and asking you why you hadn't told them also need to check themselves. It's not up to anyone else how you handle your grief.